God came into my life like a little like when I was like young. Like before recovery and all that shit. It was on accident. My parents didn't raise me religious at all. They never did. But they did send me to a Christian hockey camp one time. Yeah, and I didn't even know people were into God like that. I thought people like God the way you like music, you know? It's like, oh, you listen to God? I'm more of like a country music type of guy. It's cool you like God, though. I didn't realize, like, I went to this Christian hockey camp, and there was a lot of hockey, and there was more Christianity than there was hockey, and there was a ton of hockey. There's a ton of it, and we would pray before and after everything, before and after dryland training, before and after practice, before and after games, which is like fucked up. We're all 12 years old just before a game, just like, oh God, please. Please, God, let us be so fucking good at hockey. Oh, please, God. And then we play the game, and right after the game, just like, oh, fucking tomorrow, please, tomorrow. And then there was like Bible study before bed, and like the coach / pastor was talking about heaven and hell, and I raised my hand. I was like, do you think I'm gonna go to heaven? And he was like, well, how did your family raise you? I was like, well, my parents always told me to be as nice as I can be to everybody, and wherever there is to go, I'll get to go. And he was like, you and your family are not going to heaven. I was like, what? He's like, you're going to purgatory for 7 years. Then God will decide whether you get to go to heaven or hell. And I was like, purgatory? Is that like hell? And he was like, I was like, is it like heaven? He was like, no. It's like, okay, well, 7 years, who's keeping track of the time? And he's like, you're really missing the point. It was just a confusing time, right? Because then after Bible study, we had to go to bed, and I had a roommate. I never had a roommate before, and this guy was an interesting guy. He stayed up all night, kept me up all night. He would fart in my direction, and then he would open his ass cheeks, and then suck air back into his ass, and then he would fart again. And in and out, and in and out, and in and out, all night. And I don't have a joke for that. I just need to not be the only one with that in my head. Because I left there confused. I was like, is God real? Is he not real? The Holy Ghost was coming out of this kid's ass. He must be onto something. So I went to go find out. I went to the field by my house to find out if God was real or not. And I insulted God. That's what I did. I insulted God to see if God would do anything. And the insult I chose was one I learned at camp. And it was suck my dick. We learned it at camp. We'd say it to each other. And the coaches would all be like, don't fucking say that. Men don't do that to each other. And we were wearing helmets. We were like, like we didn't give a fuck. And we just liked making adults angry. I didn't really know what that meant. Didn't realize the homophobia that was around Christianity. And I went out to the field and I gave God the finger. And then I said, suck my dick. And then I was like, nothing happened. I was like, okay. Waiting for a big hand. There was no big hand. I was like, all right, well, that answers that. So I walked back into my house, and then my parents called me upstairs and sat me down and told me they were getting a divorce. There it is. There's the big hand. The worst part about it was for weeks after that, my whole extended family kept coming up to me and being like, William, we just want you to know it is not your fault. It's like, I think it was. I told God to suck my penis and now my parents don't love each other anymore. And true story, after that day, they didn't talk for 7 years. They didn't talk for 7 years except for through lawyers. And then they finally started talking after 7 years. And I was like, is that purgatory? Is that what that was?